Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, I will be attempting to make simple objects procedurally. I'm gonna make a spoon. This one in this episode. Spoon. This is something also that you can do simply by using extrusion. But you can, of course, approach it in many different ways. But for this one, let's try the extrusion, the extrude region, and then the multi extrude might be the one we need. After all, we will see. There's a few gotcha, but even if we are failing at the spoon, maybe it's something like a work in progress thing. You know what I mean? So if you start with something like a plane and plug the vertices and polygon into this guy, and let's check it out using viewer draw. And okay, we have this for this guy, the plane I think is better be centered. And then let's see, it's a good practice I think to have the objects always pointing at the negative y directions. It depends on what you're doing, but in this case let's make it that way. So I'm gonna flatten it in y directions. So a spoon, let's say x, we can start something like this, and then just enable multiple extrude, and then enable matrix. We're gonna use matrix in. This is gonna be the transformation value that we're gonna feed into this extrude region. This is supposed to be pretty simple, I think. So the first extrusion, we have that, and a good spoon I think has some kind of maybe like a bevel. So you extrude it up. I will also scale it. Scale. This extrusion node doesn't really like 0 value, but anyway, that's the first extrusion. Maybe I will scale it in the x-axis, like so, and then I will continue with the next extrusion. Okay, this guys, we need to give it a 1 each time. The next extrusion goes like that, and we can do it again. Maybe this is, we don't need to have too many extrusion. It depends if you want to make the spoon a little bit like bendy, feel free to do that, but in this case we don't need to do that. That's kind of decent looking spoon. Well, not yet, but continue on. For the fourth one, okay, this should be 1 1 1 once again. This should be, let's say, a little bit like that. So that's extrude up. We can bend it a little bit to the back, and then add more extrusion up, and 1 2 3 4 5. Continue. Here we're gonna make it like that, and continue. Extrude up, and at this point you look at it, and then you probably can make like a fork. Maybe here you can decide you want to make a spoon or a ladle, you know, like is it gonna be a big spoon? But it's all like because this is procedural, you can always go back and you can kind of mix and match. So this 1 2 3 4 5 6, keep counting. This is starting to look like a spoon, I guess. So there's this effects, like accumulative kind of effects that you need to be aware of, because we have our last scaling is that big, so this has like accumulative effects. Be careful with that. So that's actually a little bit tricky. You kind of need to make it back to normal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's a little bit better. So changing the scale up here actually affect the one at the bottom. And so we are up to here. At this point I can really start scaling it down again. And then let's do, so we have 8, 9, and here one more. Scale down. I think that's kind of looking like a spoon. Yeah, you can bend it a little bit better, but that's the basic spoon part. At this point you look at it and okay, normally I think if you want to make this into a spoon, you will do like extrusion maybe. Go to edit mode and then go to select this face. So 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe, and then maybe extrude in like that and bend it that way. That's one way you can approach it, of course. Here also you can extrude and then do something like that. So that's starting to shape a little bit more like a spoon. Now we have to think how we can do this in procedurally using Sverchok, right? So that's that part actually a little bit tricky, a little bit. Let me check. So yeah, I think that's more or less like a spoon. It's pretty dodgy one, but it's starting to get there. So this is, I'll save this. This is a SV spoon. Like I said, even though if this is like failed, like 60% kind of like a spoon, this is like a work in progress. You can always take it and then you can continue working on it procedurally, pass it to someone else, you know, maybe you will get a better spoon. I don't know. There are multiple ways to approach this. You can perhaps like make them like a modular. So you make the handle and then later on you can make like something that looks like a ball and like kind of bridge it together. Yeah, this is a plus sign. You bridge together because later on you might want to make like a fork. Maybe fork is also kind of interesting to make. You want to just join the handle with this fork, or maybe you're gonna have like a toothbrush or a spive, spoon and knife, spoon and fork together, maybe spive, or even spork. Maybe you have like a knife, or like in New Zealand you have something like this, spive, spoon and knife, sort of. So you have a lot of potential here, but yeah, at this point we have it as a single object. At this point, really, I can think of one way to do this. Maybe if you look at the face and then kind of observe this, and you can see, okay, index polygon face index 25, 27, 33, and 36 should be extruded. Okay, so that's a little bit tricky to select it, but there is a way to do it. Actually, just use index to mask, and then if you use like list input integer value, you can kind of do that. 36, we need for 33, 27, and 25. There are a few ways to select polygon face, but this is one of the way you can do this. So use like maybe like list masking. So you plug in the polygon data, and then you mask it using this guy. Turn on data masking. Data to mask is polygon. Hopefully this kind of work for what we are doing. This goes in there. Let's check the data first. It says false, 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 and then true, true. Okay. That's the index. That's the data to mask, and then this one goes in here. Vertices is the same. Topology mask. Okay, maybe we do it like this. Mask length is the length of the polygon face. This length. So this guy is slightly tricky way to work, but I think this should work. Okay, there you go. We are able to select that particular face. It's a kind of tricky. I'll show you what happened here. So we are selecting those 4 faces. Now we have like a gap, like a hole. With this hole, we can make our own components once again, and then maybe plug it in, or we can continue on working with this guy. Here I'll show you. So we actually have this part. I'll give it different color. There you go. So that's the red part, and that's the blue part. With the red part, we can continue on working. Be careful with extra vertices like that. Delete loose, maybe one way to clean it up. So vertices and polygon edge. So we have a clean face somewhere. There you go. There's a clean face, and we can continue maybe with extrusion. If you use extrude separate face, you're gonna have like maybe like almost like a toothbrush, but in this case we want to maybe extrude region once more, and maybe just along normal. This is where things can get a little bit tricky. Okay, there's one thing with the extrusion. It seems to keep the original face, and there's this option that's supposed to turn it off, but it doesn't do it. It should be an option there to get rid of the original face here at the back. Okay, so in this case I'm gonna use least slice. I'm gonna slice the polygon data and really want to get rid of the back. So that's the back, 0 to 4 is the back. So we're gonna start from 4 and then continue. Just get the new face like that. Oh yeah, okay. That's the new face, that's the new vertices, but it doesn't work. I guess this is the way to go. And so with this guy we can scale scale it in, and push it in. So we have a spoon. And remember, there are still two parts, right? The blue part and the pink part. You can bake it in. You can of course mesh join it inside Sverchok as well. But see, I bake it in, and now we have two parts. You can join them, go to edit mode, and then remove double. I think this is so like pretty procedural, I guess, as procedural as you want. It makes you kind of think a little bit about way you can work with it. It's like a rethinking how you can model a spoon. It's not probably not the easiest, but this is interesting. I haven't done the extrusion at the back. Maybe I should do that, but I'll do that maybe at some point. But this is pretty much the idea. There is a gotcha here. Be careful whenever you change something at the back. Sometimes it affects the indexing. So you might think yeah, cool, you can change the vertices at the back, but be very careful. Sometimes if you change something and then the index number is changing, this list input and index to max might change. If the index number changes, then what happens later on might change as well. So if I decided, okay, I make more extrusion, then okay, that doesn't affect the one at the bottom. But if you start to do something funky, then it might change here at the back. So be careful with that. Whatever you do at the front will affect the one at the back, because it's all procedural. It's everything happens in one go. You can always change this and make changes. But I guess this is yeah, how you can generate a spoon procedurally using Sverchok Add-On inside Blender. Hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what you think. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.